Thank you. I want to go to the fact that in 1996, Congress passed and President Clinton signed into law the Defense of Marriage Act. That law defines marriage for purposes of federal laws between one man and one woman, and also provides that no state or territory shall be required to give effect to another state that recognizes same-sex marriages. Both provisions have been challenged as unconstitutional, and federal courts have upheld both. Do you agree with federal courts, which have held that DOMA does not violate the full faith and credit clause and is an appropriate exercise of Congress's power to regulate conflict between the laws of states?
Senator Grassley, I do think that that's an issue that might come before the courts, the constitutionality of DOMA, so it would not be appropriate for me to comment on it.
Okay. Let me move on then a little bit along the same line, but a different approach. Whether or not you played any role in approving or reviewing the reply memorandum in support of defendant United States motion to dismiss the case of Smelt versus United States. If so, could you please explain why the Justice Department abandoned the argument that traditional marriage rationally served the legitimate interest of promoting the raising of children by both parents, which Congress could reasonably conclude is the optimal environment for raising children?
Senator Grassley, this was not a case in which I was the decision maker. It was a case in district court, and the Solicitor General's decision-making responsibilities take over in the at the appellate court level. It was a case in which members of my office and I reviewed some briefs and participated in some discussions, and I think I would need to say with respect to those discussions that, you know, I can't reveal any kind of internal deliberations of the Department of Justice, but just to say that in general, lawyers do make a raft of decisions, strategic and otherwise, about how best to present cases, and the Department of Justice is right now defending the DOMA legislation in the courts in that case and in a couple of others.
Do you believe that it was necessary to note in the reply memorandum that, quote, administration does not support DOMA as a matter of policy, that it is discriminatory and supports its repeal, end of quote? Do you believe such language is consistent with your promise to vigorously defend the statutes of our country?
Senator Grassley, I'm reticent to talk about particular decisions made with respect to that brief, not only because I was not the decision maker on that brief, but because the Department of Justice is currently litigating those cases, and I don't want to do anything that interferes or undermines or you know, in any way gets in the way of the defense that the Department of Justice is making on those cases.
Okay. Well, you took an oath to defend the laws of the United States, including DOMA. Would you agree that calling a law discriminatory and advocating for its repeal is no defense?
Senator Grassley, I do believe that the Department of Justice is vigorously defending DOMA in that case and in other cases.
Okay.